Hi everybody and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn. I'm joined by the fantastic Yori Narpati. So excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, can't hear the music? Okay, cool. I think I fixed that, Johanna. Thank you for letting me know. We'd like to begin by paying our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Let's get stuck into it. So this is my first stream, certainly since Adobe Max. So I don't know if everyone's maxed out. You've probably seen a lot of it. There's so much content. Yori and I were having a chat beforehand about how much stuff there is and how much there will be to catch up on over the next little while. But yeah, Yori, did you get a chance to see much, or were you working during?
Yeah, actually, hi everyone. By the way, thank you for having me again back on Adobe Live. I'm so happy to be here. Actually, I didn't get to watch much at all because I was kind of working at the same time. But I'm glad that there's actually, you're able to play back all the sessions, well, most of the sessions, which is great. So I'll be catching up like the next few weeks because I'm sure there are a lot of really cool sessions. In particular, I'm really excited for like the tutorial ones. So I'm probably gonna go for those.
And did you at least get to watch your own session? Because you were a speaker at Adobe Max. You did a fantastic session on animating in Photoshop, which I absolutely adored. I wonder if anybody in chat got to see it. I know Johanna and I definitely watched it. But yeah, super interested to hear if you checked that out. But did you at least get to watch your own session when it was live?
Yeah, I was actually in the chat, and it was interesting for me because it's very different from Adobe Live. Like when I'm doing Adobe Live, I'm just here focusing on my work and just kind of focusing on drawing and just like maybe talking a little bit. But with Adobe Max, like actually get to watch myself and then answer questions as they come along. So it's definitely a really different experience from Adobe Live, but yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
That's super cool. And the session was animating in Photoshop, which is a bit of what we're going to do today. So I think Johanna shared the link to that. So if you haven't checked it out, it's awesome. Definitely check it out. So of course they go for 25 minutes. It's a great encapsulated version of animating in Photoshop and all sorts of things, very well planned out. But here on Adobe Live, we get to chat with you directly. So if you have any questions while we're live, Yori can answer as we're going along, which is always really cool. A little bit of interactivity, which is always super great. But yeah, should we jump over and have a look? Because you've actually pre-prepared this. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, well, thank you. I guess with animation, it's always good to do it beforehand because it definitely takes more than 2 hours to do it. So I have to finish it beforehand and maybe just show you the steps, just a little bit of it, and then kind of move on to the next one so that we can finish everything. Are you looking at my screen now?
Yes, we can see it now, yes.
Alrighty, yeah, so I've just kind of prepared this small, like little cute looping animation that I've done in Photoshop. It's actually kind of great that we're talking about this today because I didn't really get to explain as much in the Adobe Max because I only have 25 minutes to do it. So it was very condensed. So hopefully today we'll get to split it into two. So in the first session, I'm probably going to be doing mostly like the background and then maybe setting up the timeline. And then the second session, we'll be doing the actual animation, like the cleaning up and everything. So I guess the purpose of this is just to show that you can actually animate in Photoshop. Because I kind of struggled with combining different programs together because I'm mainly an illustrator and concept artist. So I don't really do a lot of animation, but every once in a while I want to do animation just maybe for like an Instagram post or maybe for just something small. And it's nice to have Photoshop, like knowing how to do it in Photoshop because you have like an all-in-one application to do everything. Right. So that's kind of the purpose of like this session today. So
this is outrageously cute, by the way.
Thank
you.
We
just have to talk about the illustration. Very on theme with Halloween.
Yeah,
it's super cool. There was lots of really great streams on for Halloween last week. Not as big in Australia, although I admit I saw a lot of people walking around dressed up on Sunday here in Australia. I feel like it's catching on a little bit. It's such a fun it's a fun holiday that I wish we did a bit more here in Australia. What about in Jakarta? Are you in Jakarta? I know you're in Indonesia.
Yeah, I'm in Jakarta. No, I don't think it's as much of a big deal it is here as it is maybe in the US or maybe in Australia. But I know that some people do maybe like just host small parties and just wear like costumes and stuff. But you don't get to see like people walking out on the streets just wearing costumes. It's not as common.
Right.
But yeah.
Oh, very cool. But it's a great excuse for illustration content, right? Like, you
Yeah.
in your feed. Lots of illustrations, people dressed up, all that sort of thing. Well, that's super cool. Well, yeah. So let's get stuck into it.
Alrighty.
And just another mention, chat as well. Feel free to throw any questions in. Let us know. Let us know if you've seen Yori's session as well. Or also, I'm super interested, like, which your favorite session was at Adobe Max. Was there one particular that Yori should check out? So yeah, like especially tutorial based sort of stuff. I know there's a lot, but was there one that really kind of inspired you to do something or piqued your interest or you learned something that you didn't maybe know? Because that's how we learn, from finding out from each other. So I'd be super interested too, because I have a lot of catching up to do.
Definitely. Alrighty. So shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I guess for this session, I kind of just wanted to do something small and simple just so we can finish it. So here I've just kind of done like small sketches of like ideas of what I want the house to look like. And I've kind of went with this one on the right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe start just doing the lines and colors and just maybe talk a little bit about it. Feel free to like shoot me any questions as I do it, because I'll probably be focusing on actually doing the illustrations. So yeah, feel free to like throw me any prompts or just questions.
Will do, yeah, and you'll get some stuff from me as well.
Yeah.
Just checking with chat. Tara says, Yori, I'm playing catch up with Max, but I watched your chat on Saturday. It was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Jessica, hey Jessica, is going to watch Yori's session as well, so that's on your list. Says, love the illustration. And Janie says, wow, your illustrations are wonderful. Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm just going to be doing the lines for this one now. I've moved over the sketch to this new file, and so I'm going to show you my brush settings really quickly, which I kind of talked about as well in my Adobe Max, because I think a lot of people ask me like, what brushes do you use? Like, what are the brush settings and things like that. I always talk about this in my Adobe Live sessions just because people always ask me. But basically, I just use the Kyle brushes. I don't remember in particular which one it was, but it was one of like, I think it was like Happy HB or something like that. Right. And I kind of changed the settings, so I've kind of made it my own. But I think any pencil brush will do, as long as you turn on the shape dynamics and and just have a little bit of scattering on and texture. I think it'll kind of almost look the same anyways. I'm gonna turn off transfer for this one because I want to do like a solid line, because if you have transfer on, it kind of, as you can see here, it kind of disappears a little bit. So I'm gonna turn that off so that it looks more solid. Right. Yeah.
And so this is after you've done the sketching process. This isn't the one for the sketching. This is once you're really wanting to put in actual line work.
Yeah. I'm kind of skipping over the sketching phase in this session just because I kind of talked about it as well in Adobe Max. And it's basically just the same thing, but I'll just turn on transfer and then, so I can kind of do it more lightly. Also, whenever I'm doing my lines, sometimes I turn on my smoothing just so it'll create a more like smooth line as well. So, sorry, let me just redo that.
And how much smoothing do you usually put on?
So usually I go for around like 15, 20, something like that. I have 13% on right now, just because if I have it on too much, it'll just cut off my line, as you can see here. Like if I do my swipes all the way down, but it feels really stiff, because basically it just tries to smooth out your line. So I tend to just go for like maybe like 15%. I think that's about enough.
Very cool. Let me see, a couple questions. How did you first get into animation in Photoshop?
Oh, okay. Well, basically I did animation when I was at uni, and we were using different applications for animation, and then I was doing the backgrounds in Photoshop. And then I think it was one of my honors, one of like the honors student, my upperclassmen, she was doing her honors film in Photoshop, and I was asked to help her. And then she showed me that you can actually do animation in Photoshop as well. So yeah, that was kind of the point where I realized that I can just do everything in Photoshop instead of having to like move around and jump around different applications, and trying to like comp them together afterwards, which you can do. And it, I think, depends on what's your intention. I think if it's just something small, something really simple, it's better to just kind of do it all in one. But if you're doing like moving cameras and things like that, you might need After Effects just because you want to do maybe like a parallax effect and things like that, which I did as well when I was doing my honors film. And I did my animation in Photoshop, my backgrounds in Photoshop, but then I exported it out and then I comped them together again in After Effects for certain shots because I need like a moving camera or something like that. But if it's for a really simple shot, then I tend to just kind of stick in Photoshop and just, yeah, it works well for me, I think.
Yeah, there's something nice about just kind of sticking kind of within the one app, especially if it's something that you spend a lot of time doing.
Yeah, I'm just, really comfortable with Photoshop. And I think another plus point is that I really like the brushes in Photoshop just because you can customize them, obviously. And there are a lot of like really good brushes out there. So you can keep it very consistent, like the backgrounds and the animation, instead of having to use a different application. The brushes usually don't look as good. Just because, they're usually not really a pixel-based software, so they usually look really stiff, in my opinion. So I don't prefer it. Yeah.
Is that like through like the process of importing them, I don't know, on a different layer with a transparent background, just kind of loses something in there, or is it?
I think it's just the brushes itself. Like they just don't look as good or look as organic. Whilst in Photoshop, you can basically just create any brushes you want, and then use the same brushes for your background and your animation, so they look more consistent. Yeah,
that's cool. Let's see. Have a question from chat. I'm curious to know your layer hierarchy to animate. Like, how do you divide what goes in which layer?
Okay, so I'll definitely be talking about that after I finish up my background. And yeah, that's kind of, I think the thing with animating in Photoshop is that you really have to keep it very organized, just because you're kind of doing everything manually. The frames are basically the layers, which I'll be showing you later, or maybe in the next session if we
might run out of time before we get to that one.
If we don't finish, so. But yeah, I'll definitely be talking about that later on.
That's very cool. And this I guess this particular illustration, or for all of your illustrations, like, is there a particular inspiration that you kind of go to? I know you have quite like a pretty wide like breadth of work now of your own, so your own kind of style and things like that. But is there a go-to place you go? I know a lot of streamers like might say constantly collect Pinterest boards, or follow people on Instagram, or have a hard drive just full of stuff. Where do you go for inspiration, or do you try to kind of sit down and just sketch it out and only go for inspiration if you're a bit stuck?
I definitely have like folders on my Instagram of just
folders on Instagram. I'm always so interested how like everybody does it differently. Like I've never used folders on Instagram. That's wild.
Yeah, I have like backgrounds, I have like characters folder, and then I have like animation folder. Just anything basically that I think looks good. I don't think I have like any particular person in mind that like, oh, like I love this person's like style in particular or anything like that. I think whatever grabs me and whatever I think looks interesting, then sometimes I will take inspiration from it. I also go on Pinterest, but mostly I think I use Pinterest for like maybe like photo references if I need like photos. But I think style-wise, I'll probably go to Instagram just because I follow a lot of artists on there. So Instagram mainly. I think back before the pandemic and before I went back to Jakarta, I used to walk around a lot and just like sketch out like different people, just like stalk people in public. No, that sounds really creepy, but like basically I draw people or like draw sceneries and things like that and just keep them in my sketchbook. But I think now, because I stay indoors, like I stay at home, like, pretty much 24/7. My only outlet is just to go on Instagram and just like people's like illustrations and stuff. So
yeah. And so in Jakarta, are you still like in lockdown? What's the situation? We were chatting a little bit about Australia before the stream.
Yeah,
we're pretty much more or less back to normal, depending on your personal situation. But yeah, what's it like? Are you still stuck inside?
I think I'm going out a lot more now. I'm also vaccinated, and I think the numbers are going down very quickly, which is really great.
Yeah.
In Jakarta, and I mean in Indonesia in general. But I think it's not as comfortable for me to walk around and just draw, because like back in Sydney, I used to walk around a lot, on foot. But now, like, usually we go everywhere by car, just because it's not as comfortable. It's not as comfortable to walk outside, I think. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. But even without the pandemic, I wouldn't walk around as much anyways. Here in Jakarta, it's not as much of a thing, I guess, to like go on walks and go to the park and just chill. That's not really something that you can do here.
Right.
I think like mostly if I go out, I'll go out to eat, or I'll go out to watch a movie or something like that.
Cool. Got a couple more questions. Might just keep them coming, folks. There's some great questions here. We'll just keep rolling with them. We did the hierarchy one. Are there also any style/design decisions that you need to keep in mind to make animations in Photoshop?
Definitely whenever I'm doing animation, I tend to go for a more simple style, just so I can animate it more easily and more consistently, just because I think with animation, you have to keep in mind the volume the most, is that you have to keep it very consistent. Otherwise it'll just wobble a lot and it won't look good. So I think whenever I'm planning an illustration that I'm going to animate, then I'll make sure that the style is very simple. I'll also make sure that it's mostly like lined. That's why I'm doing kind of like a line illustration for this one as well. Just because I think it'll look more consistent with the animation. But even if it's not, then it's also a thing as well. Like you can have like painted backgrounds, and then you can have line characters for like the animation. Also, are we good for time? I can move on and do colors if you'd like.
We're pretty good for time. I mean, we're 20 past. I'd say we have about 35 minutes left. So
35 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just be a stopwatch. You just tell me and I'll tell you what the time is, and you can decide like when to move on to different parts. Because I don't know about you, chat, but for me it's something very therapeutic about just watching Yori do these like perfect lines, just sort of sit back and chill.
Yeah. I guess I'll just show you a little bit more. Usually I like to use like a smaller brush for like the little details. So I'll just go like a little bit smaller, and I'll just do like this little, that's a bit too small actually. Yeah, I'll just do that. And I think it just looks a little bit better if it's like a smaller brush.
So is it the same brush but just smaller size? Is that something that you'll keep consistent? Yeah.
Yep, it's the same brush as well. So. Yeah, again, if I'm struggling to keep the line nice and smooth, then I'll just turn up the smoothing by a little bit. And usually it'll help me. Oh, hold up. Yeah, there you go.
I thought the first one was great. It's so funny. We have this a bit on Adobe Live with illustrations being perfectionists, in my opinion. Kind of draw the line, and I'm like, that was perfect. Then they just Command Z, do it again, and I'm like, no, that one's perfect. And then they Command Z. I'm like, no, stop it. But obviously, you have an eye. You know what you're looking for. You know, you're looking for those, trying to get it perfect. But yeah, it's funny to watch. I have another question from chat. What from your home surroundings has inspired your work, if at all? So yeah, I guess if you can't walk around and it's not happening in the same way that it was when you were living somewhere else, are there things that inspire you? Like, I'm thinking houseplant with this one. It's like you can look to the left and you see a houseplant. You're like, yeah, let's do something with
Yeah, I think I think back when the pandemic like first hit, I used to go up to my attic and just like draw houses like surrounding my house. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Like, cause I couldn't go out, and I just wanted to kind of paint something live. Like, it's kind of different painting something from a photograph than painting something, you know, in front of you. So yeah, I went up to my attic and kind of just brought my little sketchbook and just painted. So maybe things like that. It's not necessarily something that would inspire me, but it's just kind of good practice. It's just, yeah, just to keep you, to do something different. Because I think drawing from photographs gets a bit tiring after a while. Because you're just sitting in front of your desk and you're just drawing from a picture.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned using it like a sketchbook. So I assume that's a real sketchbook. Something you hold in your hands. Is that something that you'll do in your process often? Is that something you only do for like, you know, your private work, or is that just like a thing that you enjoy to do to kind of chill and relax, or just to get away from the computer? Like, where does the physical notebook kind of come into your like workflow?
I think I used to sketch out like designs in my sketchbook a little bit, like back then, like at uni and stuff. But like nowadays, I usually just use my iPad, just because it's more convenient, and you can also transfer your work from your iPad straight into like your computer in Photoshop and things like that, because there's Fresco and other programs as well. So it kind of makes more sense, because then you can look at your sketches right away instead of having to like scan it or something, because that's what I used to do. But there's definitely something different about using traditional media to paint or to draw something. So I still do it for myself, just for fun, but it's not something that I would really show to other people, just because I'm mainly a digital illustrator. So it's just something for myself. Yeah, it feels nice to just draw on paper, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know if you've seen it, because as we mentioned, you're very busy during Adobe Max with real work and things like that. But yeah, you can animate in Fresco now. So I wonder if you've heard about that, or if you're going to try it out.
I think I kind of tried it out. I think I was doing it was last year for Adobe Lunar New Year. I think I did kind of something similar with Fresco.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of animated in Fresco, but I'm not sure if that's like updated now, like the animation features, because I haven't been using it to. Okay, all right, I'll have to check it out then.
I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, see how it like fits in, or if we find you back in Photoshop on the desktop using the animation panel again.
Yeah, I think with iPads, like I'm doing an illustration on the iPad or something like a smaller tablet like that. It's mostly for me, it's just for idea generation or for fun. But whenever I'm doing like actual work, I still gravitate towards Photoshop, just because with like the number of layers and like the tools, it's just so much more convenient. So I never really do actual work in my iPad, like on my iPad. But the tools there are really great. And if I'm just doing like a fun illustration just to post on Instagram or something like that, then I'll definitely use my iPad, just because I can sit on my bed and just chill and kind of just draw in bed, which is really nice. By the way, I'll just move on and show you like the final lines.
Okay,
that's
cool.
Okay. So,
yeah, go for it. Yeah, we're about halfway, so that's good. Good timing.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like. And I'll move on and do the colors now then.
Very cool. I'll just, as we're transitioning over there, I'll just grab another question from chat. Thanks for all the questions, everyone. These are great coming through. When Stephen asks, when you do looping animation like this, how long does it take to finish, since you have to do the illustration also?
I think it depends on like how long is the loop. Usually like 1 second is actually enough to do a looping animation. 1 or 2 seconds is fine. So really depends on like how long like the animation itself. Maybe something like this would take me maybe 5 hours. Maybe 5 hours to do like the illustration all the way through like the roughing of the animation and then the lining and the colors. Just because it's only like 1 second, but yeah, usually if it's like a longer shot, then it would take me days to finish. But yeah, this is like a really, really simple one, just so we can finish everything in like the span of 2 hours. Alrighty. hold on. I'm trying to find my lines. Okay. So this is also something that I did when I'm doing Adobe Max, is that I will use this magic wand tool to select the outside perimeter of the lines. Make sure that your lines are closed as well, just so you can select it. So select any of like the outer areas, and then you go to select and then inverse, and then modify and then contract by 2 pixels, just so it makes like a perfect selection. That's always something that I do whenever I'm doing like a base color. So.
Don't see that contract selection used very often. That's not something I've seen a lot.
Oh, really? I guess it does help a lot, because the reason I'm doing that is because I'm using a textured brush. Right. So if I'm just selecting like that, it won't select. Wait, sorry. If I'm selecting like that, it won't select it perfectly. There's like 1 or 2 pixels off, so I have to like use the select and then go to select and then modify and then contract, and it'll select it perfectly.
Nice.
So
that's great.
Right. So continue with the base colors now.
And I noticed that you have not a white background. Is that by choice? Is that part of the artwork already, or do you just not like having a white background?
Yeah, it's something that I sometimes do as well. I prefer working on like an off-white background, or maybe something that's more gray, because it hurts my eyes less. Yeah, so, but this is actually part of the illustration, so yeah. So I'm just using the same brush. I'm just going to line the areas that I want to fill with color. Also, I've just created a new layer and clipped it on top of the base. So the way you do that is that you hover in between the 2 layers, and then you press on Alt on your keyboard and then click, and it'll just clip it down. So the reason I'm doing that is so that whenever I'm doing this, it'll stay within the base color that I've done. So it's just more convenient and just a lot neater.
And is this like a highlight that you're doing, or is this like the color?
I'm still doing the base color now, so I'm just doing this moss area. So I'm just lining it with a brush, and then I'll just fill it with like a paint bucket tool later on, just so it makes it a lot faster. Yeah. Okay,
so that's why you don't have to be super accurate on like the inside. You're just trying to be as accurate as you can in regards to that outer line there, and then once you're done, you just fill it all in.
Yep, definitely.
Cool. Let's see. Have I missed any questions? This is from our conversation before, question that I missed. On the flip side, now that we are more and more able to go out and about, besides drawing people, what other art or design related things are you excited for?
Actually, let me think about that. I used to be really interested in like clay modeling and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just because I used to do 3D as well during uni, and then I used to do like clay models for reference before actually modeling it in the computer. So that's something that I'm kind of interested in as well. I don't know. I just like to try different like other arts and crafts. I like working with my hands as well, because when I'm like in my actual work, I mostly do digital stuff. So I don't get to play around with paint and like just like use my hands when I'm creating.
Totally.
So it's something fun that something that I would like to do more of. What else? Sorry. So yeah, I've just filled up like all the colors. So I'll just keep doing this for all the areas. Yeah, what else?
What about the beach or anything like that? Is that something that you like to do in Indonesia?
Sorry?
Going to the beach or something
Oh,
like
going
that.
to the
We
beach.
can even go further from the question and like non-design related.
Oh, okay. What else? I don't spend. I'm kind of a hermit. So when I'm not doing like when I'm not drawing, I'm usually just like watching stuff on Netflix or just like playing video games or something like that.
Okay, cool. Follow-up question. What video games are you playing?
What video games am I playing? Oh my gosh. I, what was the last one that I played? I haven't been playing a lot actually because of work, but
Yeah.
last one I played was Animal Crossing on Nintendo Switch.
Oh my
and
god!
on the PS.
I'm gonna have to kick Johanna out of chat now because she'll lose her mind because she loves Animal Crossing.
And I was playing a friend that kind of forced me to play God of War. So
Right, I haven't played that one.
yeah. So I haven't finished it though. But yeah, I think recently I downloaded this game. I forget what it's called. Eastward, I think.
Eastward.
I don't know if it's like a pixel game on Nintendo Switch, but it's got a really cute art style. But yeah, I haven't actually played that one, but it looks really cool. What else? Yeah, I mostly just do that really in my spare time.
Yeah.
Is
that on Switch? Eastward.
Yeah, that's on Switch. I think it's the same developer. Do you know Stardew Valley? It's like a farming. Farming. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same studio, I think, or the same developers. I'm not sure, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to stay very far away from Stardew Valley because all the reviews, like it's one of those games where people like, you'll just lose hours and days and whatever in this game, and I can't help myself, so I have to not play those games because
they're kind of horrible.
Years of my youth was spent like doing things like that, and I don't have the time I used to have, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're kind of horrible, really, because you can't stop playing. I think the first time I picked it up, I didn't really sleep for like maybe like 3 days. Like I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was like just playing that game constantly, which is really bad. But because I used to love Harvest Moon, and then that's kind of like the successor.
Yeah, I find that because some people can like just jump into a game, play for a couple of hours, whatever, and all that sort of stuff. But for some of us, it can be quite addictive. Rin, Animal Crossing hype. Of course, Johanna is very excited for an upcoming massive update this week that she's very excited about.
I'm very excited for that. I'm scared. Like I feel like I won't be able to stop playing once I actually pick it back up because I try not to play because I won't be able to stop when I do. Just bad.
Stephen, God of War is my favorite.
Yeah.
They say you should finish that game. There we go. Would you ever, if like a game developer or like an indie developer or someone approached you, would you ever work with, or would you ever want to work with someone like that to have your illustrations in a game? I could really see that. I could really see that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I would love that. I think it would be very different from working in animation. I mean, just like for TV shows, because usually that's what I've been doing, or just illustrations. I'm not sure what it will require or what's different, like what's the actual differences will be, but I guess it also depends on whether it's 2D or 3D as well. Just because like from experience, like working for a 3D show is very different because for example, if you're designing assets for a 3D show, then you're required to do like a lot of like turnarounds for the props and things like that. And everything has to be in perspective just because so that like the 3D modelers can do it properly. So it's very different from doing something for a 2D show.
And there was a question from YouTube. Have you ever worked for anything to do with the gaming industry or anything like that? Has that happened yet? Unfortunately, no. But I would love to, definitely. Yeah, I think that would be cool. And is there any change to the brush that you're using, or it doesn't really matter what brush you're using when you're doing the kind of coloring in, just to get back to the craft. It's hard not to just keep talking about computer games and stuff, but we'll get back to what we're supposed to be doing. So I noticed you're using a bit more of a chisel pointed kind of brush here. Has it changed?
It's actually the same brush.
Same one? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same brush. I've just changed the size because I was just coloring in like a huge chunk down here. So I've just made it a bit larger, but now I'm going back and doing like little branches. So just made it smaller again. Okay. So I'll just keep on. Okay, so are we good with time? I can just move on and maybe explain how I do the details for the painting.
Cool. Yeah. So we've got like 18 minutes left or something, I would say, in terms of timing it out.
Okay. So I guess, all right, that's my base all done. And I guess like with this, usually once I finish doing this, I can it depends on like what kind of style I'm going for. Sometimes I would do like kind of like a more rendered style, or maybe something with like light and shadow, but I guess with this one, I kind of just wanted it to be like a flat illustration, but I still want to add a little bit of detail. So I'll just go in to each of because these are all separate layers. So I'll just go in, for example, if I want to add details here, I'll just go in. I think I kind of use the same technique for my Adobe Max illustration as well. So my brush settings for this, the only change is that I'll turn on color dynamics. And then this way, each of the stroke that I make will be a slightly different colors depending on your settings, as you can see here. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but you can change it here. Make it lighter, darker, different hue. I usually just go for like very small percentage in like the brush settings so that it doesn't look too extreme. And then I'll just go in and do that. I think the aim here is just to make it look like it's colored pencils or something like that.
Yeah, it gives it like a textured kind of look to it.
Yeah, but still using the same brush.
This brush is getting a workout. That's great.
Yeah, it's my favorite brush. I have a very limited amount of brushes that I use. I mean, I have like hundreds in my actual, like in my Photoshop, but the ones that I use are very limited. Just because those are the ones that I'm comfortable with using, and I tend to just stick to those instead of having to like change and experiment. I think it wastes a lot of time as well because you're not used to like how it feels, and then you have to like adjust the settings a lot, and it will just take a lot of time. So I think once I found like the 10 brushes that I like, I'll just stick to those really.
Yeah. Checking in with chat. Would love to see Yori's stylization in games. Yeah, totally. It's quite interesting, like, you know, that because there's like very pixel-based kind of games. When I think of indie games, I think of that stuff. But then there's games like Cuphead and things like that have like Cuphead. Really like stylized, like almost vector. Like it looks like vector, really, the whole thing.
I think Cuphead was actually 2D, like hand animated. Like it's not on paper, but it's like traditional animation. It's not like it's not like puppeted kind of animation that you find in like Flash or After Effects. So that's really cool.
Maybe something in that style in your world that would be super cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool actually. I still haven't finished Cuphead. Cuphead was like really difficult.
It's meant to be really hard. I've never played it. I just really like the aesthetic of it. But I've heard it's quite hard.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me. I think it's best if you play it in like 2-player mode instead of having playing it on your own. But yeah, it's really cool. Like it's got a really cool aesthetic, I think.
Very cool. And there's been 1 or 2 mentions of color, so I'll just kind of ask an all-encompassing color question that I'm sure you get all the time. Where do you get your color palette from?
So yeah, this is another thing. I do get this question a lot, is that I usually, it's kind of bad to say, but I kind of just go by instinct. If I'm really stuck, then I'll go to like, I think there's like a Adobe Color website where I can show you maybe.
Yeah, Adobe Colors, yeah.
I think I kind of showed this on my Adobe Max as well. I think it's quite convenient. Or sometimes I would go to like images that I like and kind of just pick up the colors from there. define a color palette. It's kind of cheating, but I don't know. I think it's fine as long as you tweak some stuff and you're not like copying directly, like you're not copying the image, you're just kind of taking inspiration like for the colors, and I think that's okay. Yeah. It's still kind of floating at the moment. I'll just keep going and I'll show you once it finishes like loading.
Cool.
It's taking a while.
Oh, Rin in chat is saying there's a free-to-play game called Sky Children of the Light on mobile and Switch. I think it totally fits these vibes. Made by the folks who made Journey. Oh yeah, that's a cool game. Yeah.
I think I've tried that game on my phone before it was released on Switch. The aesthetic's really cool as well, but I think it was kind of difficult to play with the controls like on your iPhone. Maybe I should give it another try now that it's available on Switch.
Yeah, I find phone games quite difficult for controls, unless it's like a touch screen only kind of thing. I don't know. I'm old.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like keyboard and mouse. I'm like sword and board the whole way.
I think once I have like variations to like the colors, I'll just turn on color dynamics and I'll just pick out the colors from here and then kind of just add in more details so that I have more controls over the colors that I'm painting on. Just because when I have color dynamics on, it just randomizes what color you're painting on at every single stroke. So it's kind of nice to give you like a range of color, just so you don't have to like pick it out like individually manually on like the color picker. So, but once I have it like, okay, well I have like this nice light color, I'll just pick it out and like add it in to like certain areas that I want it. So I mean, this is just kind of to create like a little bit more texture.
That's cool. So you kind of focused on the top of the, I guess, tree here or the vine, whatever foliage it is. And you got that kind of right with a couple of different kind of colorations and things like that. And you're like, cool, that's about what I'm after. And then you can color pick from there to kind of, I guess that speeds up your process a little bit and you can use the same colors, keeps it consistent. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I really want to know what's like making the cool like glow from the inside of this this little pumpkin hut. It's just such a cool color.
You mean in the final image?
Yeah, like if you get like the window, the color that's in the window, I just it kind of adds an extra layer of intrigue as to what could give off that cool color.
I'll show you like what I did at the very end, like because I usually add in like some light effects and things like that at the end, just different layer blending modes for light. Also, I'll color adjust this at the very end as well. So the colors actually look very different from the final product. But that's just kind of my process. Like I'll just pick out a color, and then because the color settings, like the color adjustments in Photoshop is very flexible, I'm not too afraid of making a mistake or you're having to like have a set palette at the very beginning. That's something that I can adjust as I go along. And that's kind of the reason why I've separated out all the colors as well. So I've got this like moss area like on one layer, and then I've got the tree trunks on a different one, so that I can go to image and then adjustments and then hue saturation, and I can change it to whatever color I like. So that's kind of the purpose of separating those out. So these colors are not really like the final colors. If I see something better, if I experiment and I see something that I like, then I'll just stick to that instead of having to like have it set at the very beginning. And if you have it all in one layer, then you're screwed, because you have to like, you have to separate it out like one by one, and it's just like a lot of time.
And so do you ever like produce like 3 of the same kind of illustration or animation or scene in different color variations and put it out and see what people like? Or I guess even with client work, you say, hey, cool, here's this, here's like 4 or 5 different, completely different color options, or do you always send one and go, no, this is it, this is the one?
I think I usually have like some color options, but not a lot. Just because I think when you have too many options for a client, sometimes it does overwhelm them as well. So I think having maybe like 2 or 3 options is good, but don't give them like 10 color options or something like that, because I think they'll just get a bit confused. Just pick out like the ones that you like the best. That's what I usually do. But yeah, giving them options is always good.
Some people in chat are chatting about your shirt that they've
Oh
sold.
yeah.
Is this your design on there? Is that
so this is actually my sister's design. So
cool.
since the pandemic, we've actually been making our own clothes
because
we don't
awesome.
because we don't really shop out a lot, so we kind of like we make our own designs and then we print it out, and then we have like somebody that actually like sew it together. But yeah, this is my sister's design.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, you should go follow her. Her name is Yori Narpati. Yeah, she's awesome.
Brenda, that's awesome. Is there a link where we could check it out? Or do you just make them for yourselves and friends, or you sell them, or?
We're actually kind of planning, we're thinking of like actually selling them.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the moment, we just kind of make it for ourselves just because it's fun. And yeah, we don't really shop out a lot anymore. So we kind of we find like somewhere where we can print the fabric, and then we just,
That's pretty cool.
So it's fun. Just turn that off. And then again, it looks really messy, but that's kind of the purpose of this, is to make as many like color variations as you can, and then go back in and then kind of like pick and choose which parts.
I noticed the stars in the background, kind of the sparkles and thing, and then I think I noticed a similar shape as a brush, like a pre-made brush. Is that something that you? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Is that like a nice time saver thing? You create your own brush, and then you can just kind of go to it and use it in your future artworks. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I used to create my own brushes as well, especially for distinct shapes like those. Or if I'm doing like a more painted piece and I need to do foliage or things like that, then I'll definitely use like a custom brush. Sometimes somewhere like something that I'll get from the internet, or something that I make for myself. But yeah, these are like the ones that you see here. Those are just mine. So as you can see here, I've got like a little foliage brush. I don't know if you can see that, but basically it's just that. It just copies like the same shape over and over again. But it just makes my process a lot faster. But I'm not really doing it for this particular piece, just because it's more of a more like, it's a line cartoony look. But yeah.
That's so cool. And also on the clothing and shirt thing, you let us know if they're ever available. But Rin has shared Brenda's Instagram there as well, so check it out.
Will do.
That's cool.
I think most of the shirts that I wear on Adobe Live is mostly our own designs.
I've never noticed before.
Yeah, because I really like printed like designs on shirts and dresses. But I don't think it's as widely available. I don't know, here maybe. So I don't know. It's kind of nice to just be able to like print out your own designs and have it like be the material that you want and like the style that you want.
Totally.
But yeah, we'll definitely let you know if I ever decide to like actually put this up on sale. Probably on my Instagram or something like that.
Yeah. It's a whole new world. I'm sure, like from like textiles to shipping to I don't know, returns. Who knows?
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah.
In that, I think the expectation is really high for like online shopping and things like that. You want like immediate customer service, like able to return it straight away, and express shipping and all those sorts of things. So it's definitely something that seems like it would take a bit of attention, a bit of time at least.
Definitely. That's kind of, maybe that's why I've kind of put it off for a while, because it's something that I've always wanted to do with my sister, but we've just never really had the time, or like I haven't really thought about it as much, because if we do decide to do it, then we want it to be like a smooth process. If somebody do buy like our stuff, then like the shipping, handling and everything has to be really like thought out. So we'll definitely take time to like think about that.
Very cool. And I'll let chat know as well, we only have about 4 minutes left. So if there are any more questions, throw it in. Sorry, I've been distracted. We were talking about computer games, clothing, the artwork itself. I lost track of time. Sorry, but a reminder that we will be back on Thursday. So we're gonna spend some more time over there. Yeah, or it might be Wednesday where you are. If you're in the US, it'll be Wednesday.
So just wanted to go in and show you kind of like, it's just gonna be the same process. I'm just gonna go back and show you. It's just the same process. I'll just keep on kind of adding in little details, and kind of, it'll end up something like this. What I like to do also is I like to color the lines to the same color as the base. So if it's like for the moss, I'll just color the lines green. I think just makes it look a bit more, a bit softer compared to having it be like, just like with the black lines.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I did. And then I think, again, I've separated out everything. And this is kind of like a chance for me to just play around with the colors. As I said before, I'll just go to the individual layers, and then just go to like hue, saturation, and then kind of just go around and see if there's a color that I like. Or I can just go to a layer, and then new adjustment layer, and then hue, saturation, and then kind of do like an all-in-one color shift.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will do all layers, like everything.
Yeah. And then you can go to like, in hue saturation, you can change it to like a specific color. So say if I want to change specifically just the reds, and I'll go to reds, and then it'll change that like specific areas only. And then if I go to greens, then it'll only affect those colors that I've selected. So you reckon I should start talking about setting up the timeline, or should I just leave it for the next session?
I think we should probably leave it, because we'll probably end up rushing through it. Again, sorry, I got super distracted. As soon as computer games come up, I'm just like, just lost 10 minutes straight away.
No, that's fine. All right. Well, I'm just gonna show you. That's kind of like the final adjustment that I've decided on, just because I want it to look more like autumn. So everything looks a bit more brownish. And then I've got, I think that's pretty much it. Like I'll show you, I guess I'll just show you like how I set up my files for animation in the next session, unfortunately, because we're out of time.
Yeah, that's cool. We got time on the Thursday. I think we'll start. We're going to kick off from there. We'll kind of do a bit of a recap.
But just wanted to show you, like I've added in like just a little bit of a highlight here. Like I've just made like a circle and painted it with a color like this peach color for like the lights, and then set it onto like heart light, just so it creates like that kind of like, I don't know, kind of like that glowing effect. Also added in like little small details in the bottom, just like little rocks and little mushrooms, as you can see there. So
I like the little rocks. They're super cool.
So I think that's kind of like the finished like background, and I'll move on and show you how I set up the timeline like for animation and actually doing the roughs and everything else in the next one. So
beautiful. Perfect. So don't fret. I know Stephen in there was like, get Yori back on. Yes, we will be back in 48 hours. So here in like Australia, Indonesia, it'll be Thursday, maybe in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. Time zones are fun. If you're in the US, it'll be Wednesday afternoon, or maybe even into the evening now, thanks to daylight savings. But wherever you are, 48 hours from now, we'll be live again, same channel. Here we are on Behance, and we'll be joined by Yori Narpati once more. Oh, and this is Adobe Color that you've brought up.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to like really show you really quickly that you can do this. Adobe Color. Just if you're really stuck on like what color palette you want, you can do this. You can change it. There's like complementary colors, monochromatic, whatever you want. And I think you can save this to your library.
You can, yeah.
If I'm not yeah, you can save it to your library.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're not logged in, then what I do, I'll just take a screenshot and then open it in Photoshop and just pick the colors from there. Like it works the same way.
Whatever works, yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Copy and paste the hexadecimals in and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But we are out of time. Thank you so much, Yori. Thank you everybody in chat. Great to hang out with you. We'll be back in 2 days with more from Yori Narpati. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye everyone. Bye.
Bye.